Hey everyone, how's it going? We will be getting started in just 1 minute. I'm going to be live on an internal development server here, taking a look at some Cannith crafting, answering your questions, talk a little bit about the downtime, that sort of thing. How's it going? Welcome to the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream here on twitch.tv/DDOstream and youtube.com/DungeonsandDragons/live. I'm DDO's community manager, Cordovan. Thank you very much for joining me. Game's down. Can't log in right now. Current estimated uptime is 2 p.m. That's what we're shooting for. We'll let you know. We have our weekly world restarts on Wednesday, and when we brought up the worlds from the restart, we ran into some technical issues, and we're troubleshooting and working through those right now. So things will be back up and running mid-afternoon, hopefully today. We will keep you updated on social media and such. So today I have no live server to play on. However, we have an internal development server. So this is the current latest build for Update 32. I thought we could take a look at Cannith crafting, perhaps answer any questions you might have. You know, take a look at a few things if you would like to. I was able to admin create myself some maxed crafter here, and I can also create any shards and that sort of thing that we might need. So I thought it might be worth taking a look at some stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually create myself some random loot. And this will allow me to show you how deconstruction works. Let's see if that worked. There we go. A Dwarven War Axe of Assassinate, minimum level 10. This is the Cannith Crafting Hall in-house Cannith. You will also be able to find one in-house Kundarik. If you have the Cannith Crafting Guild Airship amenity, you'll be able to craft from your airship. If you have a remote item deconstruction device, you'll be able to do this from an end chest or just about anywhere you'd want to. So those are a couple options there. Confucius says, are there more recipes than what Lamania preview had? Maybe. I don't know quite what the differences are between the build we have on Lamania and this build, other than to say this is at least significantly updated. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if there were some recipes and that sort of thing. I will look specifically into the challenge gear and rune arms. I'm not quite sure about the rune arm one. I'm not sure if that made it in here yet. So, we already talked about what the server is. Let me actually say we have a really nice bonus also this weekend. Plus 5% group and raid group XP. This is a buddy weekend, so every person other than yourself in either a party or a raid will get 5%. Maybe a little less than normal for parties, but it is also just across the board 5% for parties and raids. So up to 55% XP on your, I'm sure not Von 5 runs. How you guys doing? And we also have a challenge. A challenge boost. 50% challenge boost as well. Alright, so that's the bonus that'll kick off tomorrow and run through Sunday. Also, the challenge vendor week, or not challenge vendor, but the Mysterious Remnants vendor week that is going this week runs through Thursday, so you just have another day or two to turn in that stuff if you want flasks and, I believe, augments. Alright, so I've got a random gen item that I'm going to deconstruct. I put it in here. It's got a disjunction shard if I'm going to disjunct the item which is what I'm going to do. And I can also dissolve it into essences. Alright, so I'm going to need Dust of Disjunction. We just updated the server just before we went live, so I wasn't able to prepare most of these ingredients. However, being admin on our admin world, I can just create stuff. Alright, so clear that out quick, do it again. Alright, so disjunction shard, and we're going to deconstruct the item. Now we've deconstructed the item, and it is a dwarven axe, a dwarven war axe, just no minimum level. However, you'll notice it says Cannith crafting minimum level slot. I'll apply a minimum level shard to this item. So we are going to head on over to the crafting device, bound shards. There are unbound shards as well. And the first thing here you'll notice is minimum level items. So these are shards that you'll first apply to your item. The basic process of Cannith crafting, we're going to show a weapon here, but it's very similar for any other piece of gear, is you're going to deconstruct the item you want to deconstruct. You'll create a minimum level shard and then put that shard on the item, and then any other slots, any other shards you put on there will have their power level largely determined by the minimum level shard. And if if it's a benefit that isn't, say, scalable, then there's a system that you can take a look at in our Lamania forums where it basically is group 1, group 2, group 3 that sets sort of the minimum level and things like that. But for most scaling effects, let's say strength or even holy damage, things like that, it's going to scale to the minimum level of the item. So let's make a minimum level 20 shard. We are going to need 200 Cannith essences. Alright, let me get myself a whole bunch of Cannith essences because I have a feeling we're going to be using that. All of your current essences will be able to be converted into these Cannith essences when update 32 goes live. Where is that Cannith essence? Sorry, it's taking me a little while. I had this written down for our crafting essence. So I'm trying to find the Cannith crafting essence thing that I can quickly sort through. A little easier said than done. I could just create shards too, but I'm not going to do that. So one of the things this system is it's far more streamlined, but it still has a lot of items in it. So it's taken me a little bit of time to find this item. I'm hoping one of the devs would have chimed in for me. That's fine, I'll just create a shard, and we'll just do it that way. Alright. So, here is one of the shards that you will make. A level 26 shard. So we will then take, go to the item list, and we will put the minimum level shard onto the dwarven axe. So it just basically says an item and then a shard. That's all you need. There are any extra ingredients. You also don't get XP for doing this. Alright, so there we go. Now, it is a +7 Dwarven Axe. Why +7? Well, that's because we applied a minimum level 26 shard. So now you're going to notice that it's got some changes in its text description that you can then use to craft things on. A prefix slot for a prefix shard, a suffix slot for a suffix shard, a Mark of House Cannith slot, which we'll talk about in just a second, and then a +7 enhancement bonus, which is what is assigned to a minimum level 26 Dwarven Axe. So, let's talk about that Mark of House Cannith shard. If you earn enough House Cannith favor, you can purchase Marks of House Cannith from the Cannith vendor. You can also purchase them in the DDO store. And in the old system, they would lower the minimum level of the item. In the new system, they add an extra effect slot. So you'll be able to put a third effect on the items with the Mark of House Cannith. Alright, so now that we've got our item here, let's head back to the shard machine and kind of see what sort of stuff we might be able to put onto it. How about... Inferno? Let's see. Fire. Alright, why not? Fire Lore Shard. You'll notice that you need 100 Cannith Essences, 15 Sour Dark Caps, and 5 Fragrant Drow Shoots. The new shards use new collectibles. The easier ones are really simple here, like Fire Guard. Just need 10 Cannith Essences and then some of the crafting materials, and you're good to go. How about Deception? Nope. Strength. Can't go wrong with Strength. Alright. Strength Damaging Effect Shard. That sounds good. So for this one we would need Singed Sorewood and Scholarly Notes. I can actually talk a little bit more about these ingredients in just a second, but let me get those Cannith Essences if I can. Alright. So I'm just going to make the shard here to, again, make it easy. But you'll add the ingredients there. So now we've got a strength damaging effect shard. It's bound to account. You'll notice that all these shards are bound to account for the bound shards. And unbound, of course, are unbound. Of course, the ingredient cost for that is significantly more. So we put in the shard, and it tells you where you can put it on. In this case, a main hand weapon. Well, guess what we got? We got a main hand weapon. So I'm going to put that there. Actually, I think... Obviously, we still have some work to do. But... Why is it not working? Well, as you can see, we still have some work to do before update 32 comes out. For some reason, this item is not working. Let me try a different crafting item, just to kind of see what kind of stuff I could get. And in a second, I will head on over to our chat room as well. I will note that I apologize to our folks on YouTube. The reason I was late today is I was unable to get YouTube streaming working. I'm not quite sure what was going on there. I have a new license on XSplit, and I think that's causing me some issues. Oh yeah, Erlach has a great suggestion, which is Planner. There's a website that's doing a beta Cannith crafting planner. That's really good, and you can check that out as well. Let's see. With upcoming changes to collectible dispensers, will the artificial drought of extremely rare collectibles be coming to an end? We shall see where we end up. Clearly, if we need to make some adjustment after the Cannith crafting system goes live, that's something we can take a look at. But the intention is that once people realize the value of these collectibles and start collecting them, plus once we start having our Update 32 collectible system in place where we're dropping higher level Cannith crafting collectibles along with more, I guess, understandable collectible drops in the heroic levels as well, and I can talk a little about that in just a second. We don't think it's going to be an issue. But if it is an issue, of course, we can address that as we need to. But for the most part, you're not going to be using this stuff for leveling, so it's going to be less of an issue for leveling as it will be for making shards itself. So the main issue is I can't find my Cannith crafting, the new Cannith crafting shards on our development tool, and I can't remember what the command is to create that. But I am working on it. Fortunately, it means I've got to kind of sort through junk. Essence is a word that we use a lot in Dungeons & Dragons Online. So, I guess that would be the best way to describe it. So, maybe I should just stop while I'm ahead. Alright. Oh, my PC's beeping. Yeah, so the reason it's beeping is I have a DDO hip chat thing up so that we can find out more about the downtime notice. I wonder if I can turn off the sounds on it more easily. There we go. Put it to quiet right now. Okay, that should hopefully take care of that. Sorry about that. Alright, let's just make a minimum level shard again. See, unfortunately, I'm not having an easy time finding the thing I need, unfortunately. I wish I could. We use Essence. Oh. There we go. Yes. Yes. Yay. There we are. 10,000 essences. That'll get the job done. Alright, this time let's go mid-level 10 item. We will do that. Now we're going to go over and apply the minimum level shard again to the ring. We'll craft it. And now we've got a prefix, suffix, and mark of house Cannith slot. Let me actually create a mark of house Cannith. Show you how that works. Put the extra effect slot item. Applies an extra effect slot to a craftable item. You need a Mark of House Cannith and an item. It has a crafting level of 1 on that, so you can just do it once you can do it. There we go, and now we have an extra slot. So, let us... You know, that's actually a good idea. Why don't I call it app? Have more Eberron collectibles been made into crafting ingredients? I know they added some top tier new collectibles. I believe so, yes. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So, under when Update 32 is released, collectibles are still going to have their basic rarity intact in terms of common, uncommon, and rare. They're going to appear, you're going to be able to, though, better understand where you can go to get these things, because they're going to be level banded by 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20, 21 to 25, and 26 to 30. And they're going to show up in one of 3 different schools, which is, I believe, like arcane, or 4 schools: arcane, cultural. We'll get that information to you soon. But you're going to be able to figure that stuff out. So. Alright, let's just say Charisma Shard. So I'm going to create a Charisma Shard here. Put the ring in. And put the shard in. Apply Charisma Prefix item. So this is a prefix slot. It will basically put a scale to the minimum level 10 that I have. So you apply the prefix shard, you hit craft, and then the ring will scale to whatever it is set for minimum level 10. In this case, Charisma plus 6. So now let me try to figure out a good... How about False Life? Can't go wrong with False Life. Alright, an insightful false life shard. We're going to create that. This is going to go onto suffix. Oh. Why not? No, let's try something else. Like I say, we're still working on a few things. Let's do something... I'm going to create a, like I say, we are still working on the system here, so you're seeing something that is literally hot in the middle of development here. Which is why in our internal dev build things are sometimes working better than others. That is how the world works. Alright, there we go. Here's a suffix that's working correctly. Apply sonic resistance, and it'll apply sonic resistance to the ring. So again, you hit craft, and it scales it up based on the minimum level 10 that we had applied earlier. So, sonic resistance 21. Now let's do an extra slot. How about PRR, because you can never get too much of that. Let's see if physical sheltering is working. Alright. So you'll see I've got the insightful physical sheltering shard. Apply it onto the ring. And now I've got my extra effect slot. So at level 10, we've crafted a +6 Insight, PRR, Sonic Resist, Charisma And probably wouldn't do sonic resist. But, you know, nonetheless. And that is what you can do for level 10. And that's the basic process of how it's going to work. You're just going to collect the collectibles. You'll collect the essences. You'll be able to deconstruct your old essences into new essences. You'll create prefix, suffix, perhaps extra slot shards. I imagine it's going to be a pretty popular choice. And then you'll put it into the machine. Unbound is largely the same, except the costs are a little bit higher, significantly higher in some cases. And you can see the formula on the Lamania forums. We're going to have a Cannith crafting guide that's going to come out. If not ahead of time, at least in conjunction with Update 32. That's going to explain some of this stuff and how it works. And that's going to include a section on collectibles, like where you can find it, things like that. And the other thing I would mention here is some shards require purified Eberron Dragon Shard fragments. These are something that already exist in the game, but are perhaps not as popular as they will be when Update 32 is released. You're going to be able to trade in your unused tomes, skill tomes, tokens of the 12, and things like that for purified Eberron Dragon Shards. You can also get fragments, and then take care of it from there. Crunch them down into purified shards. But you'll be using that for some of these items as well. Let me turn back to the chat, see if we've got any questions that I can and or should be answering. Go. We'll be doing a character wipe on Lamania probably for the next update, so that would be for Update 32. When we do have one more prop to Lamania pretty much planned, and that's going to be not having a character wipe in it, though. No reason to do so. If you feel otherwise, give us a good reason why, and we could consider it, but probably not. Name of this server is called Flame Keep. Are we working on the lag in the crafting houses? Yes. My understanding is we're going to be reducing the kind of animation cost that's going on with those machines. Did I get to meet Mr. Willingham? Unfortunately, no. Not this time around. When is this expected to go live? This will go live with Update 32, and Update 32 is expected to go live around September 13th is our current target date. I'm just checking on our downtime. We are still set for a 2 p.m. uptime here. Hi all, Lotro Tavern says, which class/character might be a good choice to start out in DDO? I personally recommend that that people start out with, if you have a D&D love of something in particular, just do that. But if you don't, then I usually recommend something like a basic fighter type. Just take one of the paths. If you're brand new trying to figure out how to move and all that sort of thing, just do a quick path. Play a character that's pretty easy and fun, like, say, Paladin or Ranger or Fighter or something like that. And then just play a few levels and then figure out what you want to play. Then make a character and do that. That's my recommendation as to what you can do. But there really is no wrong answer. Whatever you'd like. Alright. I'm just looking at the shards here. Any updates on mass deconstruction? No. Something we're working on, but it's going to take some work, unfortunately, to do. Hopefully we'll get it done in time. but certainly not in time to crunch down your existing shards. Just do that by hand. How is a newbie supposed to know what to do with all those fighter bonus feats? If you're a brand new newbie, my recommendation is don't worry about it. Just do your thing. Take things that look cool and worry about it later. I have been hearing, Wisdomman says, that a bunch of recipes require pretty rare collectibles, so that would turn crafting into a significant moment in a character's life. I'm fine with that, but I want to know if that is intended. It is intended that the main system not be crafting shard after shard after shard after shard after shard, and then deconstructing that. You'll be doing a lot of that with minimum level shards and things like that, but the main point is not to be using that for gaining XP. Most of the prefix-suffix shards you're going to be doing are going to be for the purposes of applying it to an item. And that's what's going on. Have more of the Eberron collectibles been made into crafting ingredients? Yeah, we did do that question already. Where do the new collectibles drop? They're going to drop on the same devices on the Eberron side, and on the Forgotten Realms side, they'll drop on the collectibles there. We are working to add collectible nodes to a lot of the old content, level 20 and above. I'm not sure we're going to get to all of it in time for Update 32, but a lot of it will be done in time for Update 32. So you'll be seeing some new collectible nodes in higher level content in particular. Bound crafted items are now bound to account as that, working as intended and going to stay. I believe the answer to that is yes. Have we ever looked into fixing vampirism using the locus of all as an ingredient? Has it been replaced? Let me actually answer that question in person here. No, I mean, this came up actually in DDOcast just the other day as well, so I guess it's worth talking about. For advice to have a brand new player do one of the paths is not sort of an intention to say these paths are for endgame players or whatever. It is simply to get started. How do you jump? How do you swim? How do you move? So I think clearly it's been replaced. Let me try to see if I can find it in that Cannith crafting tutorial there. Alright, well, let's see. What is a good way to play it until you can figure out how to play it? Philly Market says, so there is no benefit for crafting vanilla one effect items. 2 or 3 effects are the same minimum level as a single effect item, question mark? Correct. Under the old Cannith crafting system, the minimum level would go up as you added shards, so there was some benefit in some cases to tweak a little bit of an extra benefit for a naked, I guess you could say, item that didn't have any other benefit. That's not the case under the new random gen loot system, which this mirrors. So, yeah, you might as well put a prefix and suffix on if you want to. Oh, someone wants to actually see this item over to the right. I guess I'm causing some trouble here. There we go. All right. It's a good question as to how to tell whether a shard is a prefix or a suffix. I'm going to have to look into that. I think that that's something that we're going to have to work on. Because you're right, it doesn't really say... Like, under the old system it was something of, and so you knew it was a suffix. But in this case, it looks like they're just called shards. So I'll have to ask about that to know which one does. How you can tell whether it's a prefix or a suffix, other than it's consistent with random gen loot, so if you know from that, then you know. But you raise a good point. You can see you can still craft the arrows and bolts. And actually, we can talk a little bit about rune arms here in a second. I can log into an admin artificer, perhaps. And you got your rune stones as well. Alright. Yeah, I think vampirism isn't in. It's not in. So that's that. They will be updating questions with the quests with more collectible thingies like rubble. Yeah, some are going to be added because some of the newer content that was created in recent years, particularly on the Forgotten Realms side, didn't have a large focus on collectible nodes because the system itself had been somewhat deprecated. People weren't really using it so much. So now that we're bringing it back in a way that makes these items valuable, we want to make sure that we have, add that back to some of the content. Would I fly into the airship on my screen? Yeah, I can do that. What is the likelihood of bringing back the 10th anniversary party challenges for a weekend or so before the end of the year? My gaming machine broke before I could turn them in. Moderately good. We actually talked about that just the other day to see if we could give it one last encore before the end of the year. And I think we're going to be able to do that. So I would say towards the end of the year, perhaps we're going to be able to bring that back for just a short period of time for those like yourself who never got the opportunity to run it when it was there. So there you go. Flexible shards have been removed. That's correct. Insightful bonuses are suffix. Yeah, in general, Oh, okay. Okay, put an item into the item machine, then you can do it. So if you put this shard, and it should say whether it's a prefix or a suffix. Nope. Oh, the item one. Yeah. There we go. So in this case, it could be either a prefix or a suffix. Or in the extra. So it'll show when you put the shard into the machine, whether it's a prefix or a suffix or both, or what the restrictions are for that particular thing, that what you be crafting. Okay. Are the Forgotten Realms going to have new art for the nodes? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Are Masterful Blanks still going to lower the minimum level? I don't know. Let me see if I can make that happen. Oh, it's okay. Never mind. Sorry, I'm using some commands I don't normally use all that much because it's jerky. For some reason it doesn't want to do more than one item on me. Let's see. Okay, well, one of these at least has a slot, so I can show you what will happen with the slot there. So when you put something that has an augment slot in and disjunct it, the slot will stay, and you'll still be able to sort of do that. You'll notice, though, that rather than a 0 min level, it does have a minimum level of 2 because it does have an augment slot in it. Let me see if I can get this working. Alright, let's see what else we got here. Fortunately, I'm not getting any masterful craftsmanship. Maybe that's just not going to work very well. Oh well. Alright, good enough. So let's try one more thing, which is we'll deconstruct a regular item just for the heck of it. So we'll need dissolver. All those Lorindas and all that sort of thing has been gotten rid of, and it's just going to be one kind of dissolver now. And that's all you're going to need to worry about. So that's kind of nice. One less thing to deal with. And when you dissolve things, you will get a few essences. I'm already max craft level XP, so... Let me do one more thing here. I'm going to let's put some armor in this time. Deconstruct it. Alright, so how do I know what the heck I can actually put on this thing if I don't want to use a planner? You can put it... It's over here now. There we go. So you'll have the minimum level stuff that you would expect. And so once you do that, let's just say, okay, alright, so here you go. Once you have it keyed for a minimum level, you'll be able to see what kind of prefixes and suffixes you can do. And you could sort that by level. Proficiency, XP required, that kind of thing. You can also do a search for, let's say, strength. Oh, I don't know. Thorn Guard? Do you have Thorn Guard? Whatever. Evil Guard. So. Good Guard, etc. And it'll tell you whether it's a prefix or a suffix and all that. Alright, let's see. Disjuncting items with augment slots causes the min level of the item to be higher. No, I don't believe so. I think it's just there is a certain minimum level for any item with an augment slot in random gen, and so that's what that is about. I guess you could kind of consider it an absolute minimum level, but not really. Just min level 2. Oh, that's interesting. You can just say prefix or suffix, huh? That's cool. Very cool. So yeah, you can just search prefix and suffix then on that stuff as well. And that's a really, that's very cool. That's great. I actually hadn't checked that out yet. I didn't realize that. That's awesome. Very cool. Do they use the Update 29 random gen names for effects? Yes. We're going to kind of have to learn these new names, won't we? Yep. What if I use a min level 1 shard onto that item with the augment slot that I just disjuncted? Well, let's us find out. I'm going to have to create the min level 1 shard. Alright, so that's done. So I've crafted the minimum level 1 shard. That's actually a good point, too. This will show off one other thing, which is that, let's say that you have something keyed for crafting, and you want to sort of redo it. You can do that by putting a new shard on. There we go. Actually, you'll have to redisjunct the item. Never mind. Ring, though. You see, I don't think you're going to be able to put that in because you'll have to redisjunct it, but I will show you what happens there. Where'd that thing with the slot go? Okay, what? Oh yeah, there we go. Alright, so let's see what happens when you put the min level 1 shard on there. It becomes a minimum level 1 thing. Plus 1 enhancement bonus with a empty red augment slot. Okay. So there we go. Before I wrap things up here, I'm going to show you what Janice and the other ones can do. So you can still get your soul bags. You can just get dissolvers and disjunction. You'll use the dissolvers to get the essences, disjunction to disjunct the items. And that's that. We'll still have the, the crafting halls themselves don't change. You'll still have the banker and mailbox, auction house, that kind of thing. And in terms of some of the specific numbers of what minimum level is required to craft X shard, you can find a good guide for that in the Lamania release notes. Or on the Lamania forums, rather. And we're going to be putting together a Cannith crafting guide that'll provide more detail on that for those seeking that kind of information. All right, thank you very much for joining me this week. I appreciate you guys hanging out while we kind of have an unusual update. We're still working to get the worlds up by 2 p.m. Eastern. We did have a little bit of an issue when we brought up the worlds for our weekly restart. Some of the instances were not playing nice, and so we're working out some technical issues and should be up by 2 o'clock. Stay tuned on social media. You can also check out the launcher of the forums. I'm going to keep things updated there as well. Any final questions before I take off? All right, there you go. Worlds are up, people are telling me. Sounds awesome. Very cool. I will see you guys in game then. Have fun.